Before we get started, if you love what we're doing on the Church Sound Podcast, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Review us on Apple Podcasts or whatever platform you listen on. Check out our YouTube channel. And if you want more information, go to our website, www.churchsoundpodcast.com. See you in the Matrix. Welcome to the Church Sound Podcast, where kingdom culture, real life, and technology intersect. I'm your host, Prentiss Thompson, along with the pastor, Caleb Windley. We're here to help you get through Sunday. Did you hear the pastor? What about your live streams, social media? We provide solid solutions for all of your multimedia needs. Let's learn something today. Let's go. Yes. Welcome to another edition of the Church Sound Podcast. I'm your humble host, Mr. Prentiss Thompson, along with the pastor.
What's going on, y'all? This is Pastor Caleb Windley. How y'all doing? I'm very excited about today.
Come on, man.
What's up?
You keep missing the cue, man.
That wasn't missing the cue. That was right on point.
It was. No, you wasn't, brother.
Man, that's
no, you wasn't. Okay. Welcome to another edition of the Church Sound Podcast, and this is episode number 29, I believe.
29, my brother.
29 and cooking with grease. 29 and cooking with grease. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Metro Podcast Studio, the hottest podcast studio in New York City. If you need your podcasting needs done, make sure you hit them up, metropodcaststudio.com, live stream, audio recording, video recording, editing, post-production, podcast, a professional podcast studio. They got it for you. So make sure you hit them up, podcaststudio.com, and they will take care of you. Today's show, we have a very special guest. Title of today's show is The Picture of a Relational Pastor. Now I know that's a handful. It can go a couple of different ways. Relational, pastor, those really kind of go together. But in this sense, it definitely goes together. So without any further ado, we're gonna need our brother, the pastor, on the mic to introduce the pastor on the mic.
Yeah. How y'all doing, y'all? Listen. This individual that I'm about to talk to you guys about is a very dear, he's my brother, he's my family. And so I want to just introduce you to him as well as my brother Prentiss, and just kind of hear what he has done and some of this. What I want to let you know is what you're going to hear after this is the voice of a great man. So Carlos L. Malone Sr. is an apostle, a prophet, a pastor, a teacher, an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and an author. His style of teaching is refreshing, authentic, and genuine. His bold approach to deliverance and spiritual wholeness through transparency is a biblical blueprint for those seeking a better way of life for their family. Apostle Malone has served as a servant leader of the Bethel Church in Miami, Florida for 29 years. He's also the founder of Relational Apostolic International Network, which is an apostolic training network for those who desire to walk in spirituality or spiritual authority and wholeness through training, transformation, and triumph through God's kingdom agenda. He also is launching, coming soon, if it has not come already, the Grace Restoration Network. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as we go through today. Apostle Malone has written several books, which include The Rib Connection, which is designed to strengthen and stabilize marital relationships through simple, practical methods. I also want to let you know he is a devoted husband to his lovely wife, my Aunt Pamela, a loving father to his children, twin daughters Ashley and Andrea, and Carlos Jr., and his beloved godson Raymond Young, a new addition to his family, Derby Bernadelle, the husband of his daughter Andrea, whom he refers to as his son, not his son-in-law. That's really cool. All of this is what gives him his historical reference and significance to the life of Apostle Carlos Malone Sr. This is my big brother. Show him some love as we bring you guys.
Welcome.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Man, she sound like the fivefold ministry all rolled up into one. I was like, is he talking about the community, or is this one person? Like, what the heck? Is he gonna start floating? I'm gonna start seeing wings and stuff behind him. Like, what the? He was like all the time.
It's kind of like having everything but not doing everything.
Having everything and not doing everything. Okay, I like that.
Right, yeah. Because some people think that just because you have it all, you're supposed to do it all. You just have to know how to synchronize the things that God has given you in step with those that are called to walk alongside you. Right. And not be intimidated by the sharing of the microphone, the sharing of the stage, giving others the opportunity and not feeling insecure nor intimidated to have to be it all, because no one person can be it all even though they have it all. You know? And I think you have to just understand which is what I've had to do to understand what season I'm in as it relates to those fivefold ministry gifts. And because whereas you may have the gift for everything, you may not have the grace for everything.
That's good.
And the worst thing in the world to be doing something that you're gifted at but not graced at doing, because grace is the empowerment that comes from God that gives us the ability to do those things that we are gifted to do. And you have to know. Right. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of say that so nobody don't think like I'm some kind of think I'm all that.
He rolled it up on the egg roll. He made that real tasty, man. Put a little duck sauce on that thing right there, boy.
No, that was Mr. Jack's barbecue sauce.
Mr. Jack, okay. You got that. Okay, you got that St. Louis thing. Got a little twang going to it.
No, coming soon. Mr. Jack's soul on the go, baby. It's gonna be open in about 2. Right.
Amazing. Yeah, man. So, today's topic I felt was real apropos to when Caleb kind of described everything to me, and he kind of threw it at me, and I was like, okay, what does that mean? And I kind of did a little bit of research, but hold up, before we get into that, we got to get into what we do every show. Now, when our new listeners and our old listeners know, they look forward to this, and what they look forward to is what we do every week. Is called Sunday School.
Okay, class, it's time. Time for Sunday School.
I don't want
you gonna go. Get me your hand. Come on, stop.
Yeah.
So the man on the mic, the pastor at hand, the man with the man with the gavel, is our illustrious brother, Pastor Caleb. Windley, take it over, please.
Yeah. What's up, y'all? All right, so I got my 3 points, and y'all know how this works. For those that don't know, I got 3 points. My brothers are gonna pick the one that they believe is kind of just stuck on them, and then we're gonna flow with what I know and what I've seen and what I've been through.
Amen.
So
Amen again.
Amen. Yes, and I. The first point is drop, stop, and roll.
Drop, stop, and roll. Sound like a song. Okay, go ahead.
The second, which is this one will get me in some trouble, is the drooling pastor.
The who?
The drooling pastor.
Drooling pastor.
You know, brother, you might have messed up. You might have messed up, brother. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
We'll see. And the last one, which is my favorite, is the voice from on high. The voice from on high.
So we got stop, drop, and roll, like the fire alarm topic, right? Stop, drop, and roll. And we got what's the second one?
Drooling.
The drooling pastor.
The drooling pastor.
The drooling pastor. And the
Jesus.
Voice from on high. Okay, you know, pastor, like this. Which one you thinking right now? You know,
I'm thinking. I'd rather mess with the voice from on high. I don't want to be doing no drooling and dropping and rolling.
right, that's one
All
vote.
right,
That's
so
one vote.
all right, so we're gonna go with the voice on high for 25. Okay, there we go.
25 points. All right, so this place that I'm about to talk about is a hidden, secluded. How we put it, my brother?
Undisclosed location.
Undisclosed location in the Bronx. We're gonna put
In
it.
the
We're gonna
borough.
put it out there where it's at.
In
I
New
like
York,
that.
somewhere.
I like
in
the borough spot. So this was one of the first places that I was ever given the opportunity. Actually, it would be technically my second church I've ever been connected to. And so while I was in this ministry, a lot of people is not gonna know that because I've been part of a lot of churches. So no way they.
You're gonna give it all away. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Give them the name of the church now. Go ahead. How about you do that?
Yeah. So while we they move into a new building, and then I get connected with the church. I was connected with the media ministry at that particular moment, and so I had a partner that was kind of with me, kind of grooming me, helping me to become a little more acclimated to the surroundings. And in this particular neighborhood, it was filled with a lot of how can I put it, Caribbean men. And so these brothers were now sent by the shepherd of the house to go up into the ceiling and clean out the ceilings. And this was the building. The building was they're no longer in the building, but the building was an old movie theater. So because they had just really moved into the building, there was a dome that needed to be cleaned. And so they sent this brother that was training me up there, and sent about 4 or 5 other deacons. And little by little, every now and then, I would see one more person come downstairs, and the next person would come downstairs, and everybody would come down covered in soot. And so my trainer at the particular time was a very just saved brother, not just saved, but sometimes you go through the salvation process. And so he was like literally just saved. So he's up there, and I'm listening. You can hear him talk because it's a dome.
Oh,
and so while he's up there, he's like, I can't believe. Now, I don't think he knew that everybody could absolutely
hear him.
He's like, I don't think, what's up with these people? And sent me up here and left me all up here by myself. Look at me, I'm all dirty. And obviously he hit something.
Mother, father, son of a biscuit.
Or a broom, and all of nice four-letter words started flying out, and everybody's looking at him going, what is happening up there? And so he didn't know, and the funny thing about it was nobody was going to tell him. So I took the brother to the side. I said, brother, I just want to let you know so that we're all on the same page. I know you're supposed to be training me in this, but I think me and you got to go in the back, and I got to talk to you about some other training, because what you just said, everybody heard you. And he's like, oh my God, are you serious? I said, bro, it's out there now.
Wow.
It's out there now. So that was
the voice from on high. The voice from on high.
The voice from on high, for real.
Wow. For real. Amazing.
Yeah,
Oh, Sunday school, you did good. You did real good.
That's good.
All right, so let's get into today's topic, the picture of a relational pastor. And I want to do something special for the fans before we got into the topic. So I want to share my screen, and this is going to be like a big thank you to our fans. And France, Spain, South Africa, Kenya,
Moldova,
Dominican Republic. In the States, we want to shout you out because you guys make the show possible. New York, Dallas, Wichita, Town and Country, Newark, Nashville, San Jose, Tulsa, Miami, Virginia Beach, Houston, Charlotte, Washington, D.C., Denver, Colorado, Riverside, Cali, California, San Antonio, Anchorage, Aurora, Raleigh, North Carolina, Omaha, Indianapolis, Detroit, Seattle, Chicago, and Boston. We just want to say Thank you. Those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the screen. But those of you who are listening, we want to let you know that we appreciate you. The show is growing. Obviously, it's touching some hearts, so we just want to thank you. This is our thank you to you. All right. So I was doing some research on this topic, and I came across a list of types of pastors, and this is a 15 descriptions. One says scholar, caregiver, evangelist, entrepreneur, preacher, leader, counselor, team builder, maintenance man, prophet, disciple maker, missionary, denominational loyalist, community shepherd, and prayer warrior. And I thought that was apropos because it kind of described a lot of what you are, sir. So how did this
that me?
Yeah, you, the 15-fold ministry. Yeah.
Okay.
So how did this journey in ministry start for you?
1977. Well, no, 1957 when I was born.
Wow.
Because a lot of times we only count the years that we count, but we don't really understand that all the years count.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we don't understand that the call doesn't start when you hear it. It starts when God determines it.
Yeah.
And so by the time you hear it, you would have heard it, you just wouldn't have recognized it because you wouldn't expect God to be talking through some of those places that you've been through and been to, and some of those things that you were doing. But the all-seeing eye of God sees everything, and everything with the Lord, when he deals with us, is about processing us. Everything has to process, has to go through process. Every garment that each of us have on right now, whether it's a cap, whether it's a shirt, whatever, pants, shoes, it's all gone through a process before it ever got to the floor, of the store, whatever that is. So for me, from the time that I was a child, singing in church, I've been in church all of my life. There's not been a part of my life out of the 63 years that I've been living that I was not in church. From the time that I was a baby all the way up until now, I've been in church all my life. But church is not the only thing that I've been in. So I kind of, coming up as a kid, people always, say, oh, that boy gonna preach someday. I never paid that stuff no attention, And because my pursuit was based upon what I felt like I was gifted at, which was music and singing. And so that was the path I took. And that path of singing led me to my calling. And April 21st, 1977, when I was in college at Illinois State University in Normal, Illinois, I acknowledged my call. And I was not qualified, but he qualified me. And I asked of the Lord one thing. I asked him to never let me be dumb, never let me be without knowing that he's telling me to do something, because I will be totally dependent on him. And he told me that I would not be a man-made preacher. He was going to personally make me. And so I just submitted to it, and I followed sometimes like, it was in the dark, didn't have all of the knowledge that I felt like I needed, others had, but I had that grace on me. And from the time that I acknowledged my call to preach, when I preached my first sermon in June or May of that, let me see, May. It was either May or June, whenever it was, after I preached my first sermon. I don't think I've been without preaching since. I don't think a month has gone by where I wasn't preaching somewhere. And it has taken off from there. And I was in the Baptist church all my life, grew up in the traditional Baptist church, stayed that way. But I always knew that God had something different, that there was something missing. But sometimes we don't have to always go searching for what's missing. We just have to stay on the path that God has us on, and God has us on, and we'll connect to it. And so in time, I connected to that and began to talk about stuff I had no idea had to be coming from the Lord, because I would just seem like some nights I would go to sleep and wake up and I knew something different. It was a weird kind of thing that happened. So that's for me, and that's what it's been. I am one of the founding fathers of Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship. I helped to start and organize that organization. We started that up in 1994. And we organized in 93, had our first conference in 94. And was executive secretary for 13 years. So I was a part of that. And so that's kind of like, the foundation, and then in 2009, somebody sent me a magazine. I don't know how it got to my church, but somebody sent a magazine to me. I don't know how that magazine ended up at my church, because I know nothing about these people. I don't know nothing, but I saw this magazine, and I was reading it, and it was from this guy named John Tashola, and I started looking at the catalog, the advertisement. I was saying, man, these are interesting subjects. I was like, man, and I read the article, some of the articles, and then I was just smitten. I was like, this guy, it's like he's saying everything that I've been sensing. And so I decided I must have ordered my first order was about $1,500 worth of books. I ordered so much stuff. I mean,
wow.
And so I reached out to his office, invited him to come to our church. And when he came to the church, it was like Jesus walked into my office. I was so scared. And he walked in and he saw me, and he looked at me, and he said I was his son. And I said, I know you're my father. I knew it from the first time that I just, even before hearing you. And from that point, I have never met anybody like this man in my life. You might find people with more charisma, people who are more popular. Of course, Caleb I've been on every major platform, just about. I know all of the top dogs, as we call them. But I have never met anybody with the kingdom revelation, apostolic insight, and he care.
Yeah.
He care about you, but he also cares about our being in sync and in step with the order of God.
Yeah.
Because there's a system to the kingdom, and you can't skip dots. You got to connect them. Even when they make you uncomfortable. And so that's where I am now, and he is helping me because like I have many, God has given me many gifts and talents, which mandate a lot of responsibility. And I'm like a good starter, but I'm not a good closer, because my mind moves so quick from one thing to the next, but he's teaching me how to start and finish, and stay consistent, which is something that he has that thing down pat.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And he only allowed those of you around him who can do that. You have to be consistent, or it's going to cost you. Yeah. But God gave him grace. God gave him grace for me. God gave me favor with him, and he loves me, and I love him And I don't always do what he tell me to do when you tell me to do it, but I usually will get to it. So I'm just now, just turned 63, and I just really just said to the Lord the other day, I really, really got to get all of this stuff right now. So that's where I am, solidifying, being a big boy. I'm not looking for anything other than I just want to sleep and have some peace, and see people come to the Lord, man. It's a weird thing. That's where I am now. Just realizing through this pandemic how much we have missed God. And I don't mean we miss him, we miss him like he missing, not that, but we have missed him. Yeah. We have made so many things a priority that are not a priority to him. Right. We are more in love with our facilities than we are with the mandate of the work that we're called to do.
Right.
People say the church, you close the doors so you don't get sick, and they say the church is shut down. When?
Right.
It ain't shut down to me because I am the church.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I'm just trying to make certain that whatever process that God has me in and have my ministry in, that I completed, because I believe that any process you don't complete, you will have to repeat. And I don't want to repeat this again. I don't want to go through the same stuff that I've gone through. I want to get it right. And the only way to get it right is me to make the adjustments I need to adjust. And I had a prophet son of mine call me who knew nothing about what I've been going through. And he said to me the other day, he says, God told me, because I was telling the Lord this on Sunday evening, I was saying, God, I got to get this right. I need this stuff off of me. I need to really, really, I'm ready. I'm ready to do you. I'm really ready to do you.
That's good.
But I can't do you with all this stuff on my mind plate. And so he called me about 3 hours later, and he said, hey, bro, he said, I was riding, and he said, every time I get in the car, if I'm going out of town or riding somewhere, it seemed like the Lord's been starting, because we hadn't talked, we're connected, but we hadn't talked in over a year. And just the last couple months, when I've been dealing with certain things, the Lord brought his voice to me, and he said, God told me to tell you that as like an earthquake, the shift has already taken place, and and his favor is with the shift for you, and everything. It's all going to work out, and all you have to do now is to operate in and manage what he's giving you. Okay. And I was like, ooh, thank you, Lord. So that's where I am now, just trying to get. You said something, Caleb, before we came on about not doing what's justness. How did you put that?
No, what I said was, a lot of times leaders can see what's important, but then do what's really important.
Right.
Like
yeah.
I've watched you do that. That's which is the point I was trying to make.
Yeah. You were saying that's important or just important, something like that. You put it as just important, most important.
Right.
That's just important and most important.
Right.
And I want to do not what's just important. I want to do what's most important.
Right.
The thing. I mean, and it's kind of in line with what you guys are talking about. The thing that's going to allow my ministry and my life to be relative.
Right.
Relative to the culture. Watch this. Based on God's revelation.
Right.
Not based upon the revelation of the culture, because I don't believe that the culture should define my assignment.
Mm-hmm. No.
You know what I'm saying? God gives me revelation but then he gives me the ability with that revelation to be relevant to the culture.
Right.
You understand what I'm
Let me
saying?
ask you, bro. How have you been? Let's say, being that we our focus a lot of times is dealing with tech. But how have you been able to use technology? I know you got a podcast and all these other things. Now, a lot of these avenues are how we even drive the culture to recognize what's not just relevant, but what's relational and what can actually touch them. How have you used technology today, in your today, to really, to pull people in?
I think that I think technology is our opportunity to get the gospel and to get connected into places that we don't have the money to take us to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Technology can take us where technology can take us to where our passports won't ever take us.
Exactly. Yep.
And but the thing about it is that we have to be willing. We have to be willing to, because see, here's the thing about technology. If you're going to capitalize on technology, you can't do that being the technician.
Right.
You're going, you can't be the teacher and the technician. So what you got to do is you're going to have to be able to surround yourself with these bright ideas, with these people who understand the technology, who you can say, okay, this is what I'm going to be preaching on Sunday. This is what I'm going to be teaching on Wednesday. Your responsibility is my responsibility is to catch it from the Holy Spirit, cook it, and then serve it to you. Your responsibility is going to be to make sure that the 5,000 get fed from it.
Got
it. So then those technicians take that and they don't wait for. See, you can't have people who are always waiting for you to give them the idea. Your responsibility is to give them the vision, and they have to be creative and say, okay, well, we can do this way. We can splice this up and take this and use this here for flashpoints or whatever. Make this a devotional, make this or this or do that. And that's what those technical minds, those are minds you got to have around you. People who do this every day.
So how do you jump in? So how do you find these people who to play these positions? Because as a technician and as a creative, I tend to do a lot of it. And me and Caleb fall into those positions.
Right.
Those creative positions. So how have you found these people to surround your world?
I think what you have to do is you got to, first of all, value what's necessary. You have to value what's necessary, and then you have to validate what's available.
All right, that's good.
You know what I'm saying? Now y'all got to write this down because this is all coming hot off the press. So I won't, I will not remember what I said. So
that's good.
But it's being recorded.
Yeah.
So we have to value what's necessary and validate what's available, because I know from experience that is nothing more significant than getting validation from the right source. And when you have a visionary who knows how to validate those who God has placed around him, and not validate them to a point of enslavement or ownership, but validate who they are. Because here's what we must remember: we don't go to school for teachers to make us smart. We go to school for teachers to pull out the smartness that's in us.
Right.
And oftentimes where preachers make their stupid mistakes at is that they want all the credit. They want all the credit, and they have this perverted loyalty that they want from you to where they become the voice that you hear, as opposed to teaching you how to hear God. Because if you teach them how to hear God then they're going to be able to discern God when you're talking. And so by the time your message finished, they already they already know. They already know what to do.
Yeah.
But a lot of preachers are too intimidated to do that. So you have to be intentional. See, anything that you don't do intentionally, it'll never happen accidentally. So you have to. I mean, if I want bread, I go to the supermarket and I look for bread, but I'm not over in the meat section looking for bread. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you stay in the meat section looking for bread, you're gonna freeze by the time, and you still ain't gonna have no bread.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to fish out of the house, okay, and then we have to separate, get engaged. See, when the fish come out the water, it comes out the water because it's got caught by a net or a hook. Alrighty, and then it comes into the hand of the person who caught it, and oftentimes what happens is we bring in the nets, but we never touch the fish, and so we don't know what we have, and so we have to be intentional. We have to look for that. You know what you need, and you vision cast. This is what we're in need of, and you find out. That's why you have your people who are around you. They got to be engaged. The Bible says, know those who labor who labor among you.
Yeah.
You got to know what's in the house. You know what I'm saying? Because in many cases, everything you need for the most part is usually in the house. Yep. If you're fishing where God told you to fish and you catching fish, then what you need is in your house. You just have to be able to get to it. So you have to know that it's necessary. Some preachers just don't really get too much into social media and get into those various using those technical resources. But I'm telling you, if it was not for technology during this pandemic, it'd be a whole lot of churches for sale, a whole lot of facilities for sale.
Yeah,
I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that and I haven't used it to the best of my ability, but I'm grateful for this opportunity to face that God has put me in to be able to recognize the reality of my situation. So I know what's missing, and I know why it's missing. So now I can move forward and prepare ourselves to be that church that God called us to be, with the whole idea of everything focused on winning the loss, not member swapping.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like fishing in the same pond.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's all it is.
Throwing them back in, somebody else is them right out.
Yeah. Man, I tell people all the time, the water bill should be the largest bill in the church. They say, why you say that? I said, we should be baptizing so much. We keeping the pool full. But we're not baptizing. We ain't baptizing people, man. People not getting baptized. People aren't getting saved because it's not, because we get so comfortable in house that we forgot, and then we have kind of sanitized ourselves from the world, and by misinterpreting the scripture, be ye in the world but not of the world.
Right.
We supposed to be in the world.
Jesus, we are in the world.
Yeah, we right. We supposed to
want
be,
it or not, right?
Right. We're supposed to be in that. We're supposed to be in the world, shining our light in dark places, bringing healing to those who are sick. Giving flavor to that which has lost its flavor, and that comes from being salt and light. Mm-hmm. We're called to be salt and light. That's what we're supposed to be. And Jesus said that if your salt loses its savor, it's fit for nothing but to be thrown out and trodden under the foot of men. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be that salt that they throw out on the street on the snow.
Right.
God will top of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want to be. I want to be what they using in them kitchen, putting it in that food, preserving that meat, making that meat taste better. Because one thing for sure, nobody will ever say my salt tastes steaky, but they will say my steak tastes salty, because salt is flavor to it.
That's good. That's good stuff right there, sir. So How would you define ministry before, during, and after COVID?
I would define before COVID. I would say on life support. On life support during COVID, died.
Yeah.
After COVID, resurrection.
Mm.
Because I believe that the shut in was necessary. The shutdown was necessary. I remember the Sunday we had our last full service the third Sunday in March, and we switched the next coming Sunday to our streaming service, and it wasn't. I hear people talk about how hard it was to make the adjustment. See, what makes an adjustment hard is when you make it hard to adjust.
Right.
You know, when you find adjusting hard, but when you know you got to do. See, I'm the kind of person, whatever state I find myself in, I have to make an adjustment, and I have to adjust to it. And I remember the Lord said to me that Sunday, just hot off the press, He said, everybody's complaining about they can't get in their church. He said, now they know how I feel.
Ooh. Lord Jesus.
He says, now you know how I feel. I've had to shut you down just so I could become front and center. And what you all said was my house.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you think about it, people come to the Lord's house and then say, we're inviting him to come in.
Right.
Who has to be invited into their own house?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
You know
That's
what I'm
good.
saying? You know, if it's my house,
I'm here.
Exactly.
you don't say, I'm not the visitor. You
exactly.
are.
Right.
See, and that's when we know we got it, when we recognize that we are the visitors here.
Right.
And all we want you to do is to just be home when we come. So to make sure that you are home, we enter into your gates with thanksgiving, and into your courts with praise.
Right.
See, we don't come in and then gotta work to get it. We enter into your gates with it.
Right.
Because we know this your house. We
Right.
know that we're coming into the presence of God. So we want to be on our best behavior when we come here. We want to make sure that we are confessing and repenting and being sorrowful for whatever we did all week long that wasn't pleasing in your sight. We're coming into your presence, and even if we haven't been our best, we want to present to you our best. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to let our dirt and our disappointments define how we reverence you when we walk in your house, even though we know that you are everywhere. So we're not being religious with it. We just understand that this place has been consecrated for you. This is your house, and we want to make sure that we do everything in our power to invoke your presence, because I don't want to come in your house and you back in the bedroom, and you go to somebody's house. The bedroom is one part of the house. I want you to be in the common area. I want you to be in your living room. I want you to be in the living room. You know what I'm saying? I want, and so when I come into your house, I'm coming in to worship you, to honor you, and to let you know that I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord.
Oh,
so, yeah. but that's I hope I answered the question, because I'm just going on.
Yeah. You definitely answered the question. I looked in your bio, and I saw that you had several books, and in the age of publishing in this day and age, from the time you started doing books to now, what have you seen to be the biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge for anything is just the marketing part of it, just getting people to be excited about what you have. And you have to be able to, when you do a book, you have to make sure that you have the time set aside to promote that book.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Social media wise, book tours and stuff like that. Just, you know, you got to make sure that people know it's there, because no matter how good it is, you got to get people to read it. And I think that one thing I know about good books and good writing, it's like good music. It never gets old. So you have to not give up on it, because if God has given you something, and I've written like 10 or 11 books. 3 of my books were published by the Ecclesiast Ministry. The Reward of Purging. The prayer. The prayer book. Hold on, wait a minute. I can show it to you, right?
Watch out now. Watch out now. Dude gonna come with the evidence. The evidence.
I got these the weapons of division.
Yep.
And
one of my favorite.
Watch this now. The Prevailing Prayer Life.
Oh yeah.
These make good Bible study books. I don't have the. I sold out and gave out all of the Reward for Purging. I got to get some more. I told you, Kate, remind me of that. I need to get some. And my latest book was it has a lot of life to it. It has not gone out the way that I wanted to go out, and it's Rich Shepherd's Poor Sheep: The Call to Accountability.
Just about to ask you about that.
It's
just about to ask you about that. Yep. So enlighten us. What's the deal with that book? What was the inspiration? I mean, the title says a lot. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that,
Yeah. No. Well, the Rich Shepherd Poor Sheep was about. I felt like that was okay. So being connected to so many different people, white evangelicals, black preachers, the prosperity movement to me was a scam. Because what I discovered was that the only people who, for the most part, were benefiting was the people who was preaching it. And it's, see, if you promoting NyQuil and you telling me how good it is, it works for your cold, it breaks your fever and all that, and then I take it and then it ain't working for me, something wrong. You must be taking something different.
Exactly.
You gotta wait on the Lord. You gotta wait on the Lord. But what happens is that that's what they tell you. You gotta wait on the Lord, brother. But it's different when you stand up and you have an audience of 5,000 people, and 5,000 people buy your book and then give you an offering. So, and I think that what happened is that Jesus Christ didn't save us so we could be financially rich.
Right.
We're saved to be spiritually rich.
Right.
Jesus said, "The poor you have with you always." but that doesn't. But also doesn't mean that you have to be one that's poor. But the poor you have with you always, for me, is that we'll always have the poor with us, which means that we'll always have an opportunity to share our prosperity.
Right.
And so it kind of bothered me when I began to see these things, and I did not call any names in the book, but I referenced certain things that I just felt that just was not of God, and because I believe that prosperity, if God meant prosperity, he didn't just mean it for the preacher. He meant it for the sheep. And and I began to see a lot of different things, a lot of mandates that pastors were putting on their spiritual sons and daughters, financially, just financial hardships. And I didn't see it as being something that God. So that's why I wrote the book, and there's some crazy chapters in there, man. One of the chapters is shepherds in wolves' clothing, wolves in shepherds' clothing, wolves in shepherds' clothing.
Wow. Okay.
When is enough? Stuff like that.
Right.
Just I deal with some accountability stuff, and to deal with who's covering you. About the importance of having a covering. So it's a lot of stuff in that book, but that was the core of it, was to address that issue that if I'm doing good, my people should be doing good too.
Exactly.
Right.
And that was the whole.
Wow. Love it.
All right. So I was in the realm of the books. Me and Caleb were talking I think Saturday about digital books and how important they are, and Audible books. Are you doing the same with this latest release?
I need to. I want to do everything. I'm just I used another publishing company on that one, and they have not given me the best that I think that they could give me. So I'm just waiting for this pandemic season to pass. So I try not to be pressing the other people right now. People are having so much financial challenge, man, and I try not to be pushing too much stuff during this here time, because like I say, those books gonna have life. And I do want to do audio, I was doing really good on my podcast. I have a podcast called The Overcast Show. But after the pandemic hit, and to start having to just stream this, and everything is a Zoom call. It just burned me out. It just burned me out.
Right.
Yeah.
The one thing I can say, I think me and Kayla were discussing this, and about, especially in this day and age with technology, with pastors, it's really important.
It's very important, man.
That your content is digital and accessible. And I think that for pastors, especially pastors, because pastors are you're linked to your voice is your voice, your actual voice is important to your delivery. People hear how you talk and how you phrase things. It's important for pastors, if you have a book, that you have a digital book. It's that you have an Audible book. And the main reason is that people can hear your heart. Right.
Exactly.
It's your book. You wrote it. Your inflection, however you tell your stories, and however you navigate it. Secondly, as a digital book, it makes it quickly accessible. I don't have to go to a bookstore. I have to find it online. I can get it right in my device and pop it in.
Kindle. You mean the Kindle, right?
Yeah. So, the third thing is this: it opens up 3 revenue streams where you was really just focusing on one.
Mm-hmm.
You're focusing on print revenue, where you could have digital revenue and audio revenue. And at the same time, your message, your book is being heard by more people than you would even think. Because I'm a guy that likes to go to Barnes and Noble. I have a ridiculous book collection. But I also have a ridiculous digital book collection. And I also have an audio book collection.
Right.
You know, but there are people who don't even buy books.
Right. Absolutely. And when your book is audio, it really, you know, it puts you at a whole nother market.
It does. It does. Yep. It surely does.
Yeah.
It does.
But I do want to
Okay.
do, you know, I want to do that kind of stuff. My publisher and I talked about it, and he gave me the instructions on what to do in terms of each chapter has to have its own, you know, just group everything together. You got each thing got to be individual so they can be edited separately.
Right.
Just like a book, that kind of thing like that. So it's a matter of having the quiet time. That's and everything got to be consistent. Whatever the ambiance was the first time, it's got to stay that way.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, you can't have a cold one week and doing it, and then the next week you sound different. So you can't do that. Can't do that. And then because people want your voice, they
want your voice.
They want the voice of the author.
Right. So what does your Sunday look like in this day and age? Like, what does your Sunday look like?
My Sunday is so refreshing because I do one service on Sunday. Okay. We start at 9:00 and usually by 10:20, 10:30 we're done. I don't have an audience still. I'm still doing everything straight streaming. It's about 7 of us there. And that's what I do. I do that on Sunday. And we're on Facebook and YouTube. And then I do Wednesday from 7 to 8, 7:30 to 8:30.
Are you streaming those services as well?
Yes.
So how has it been? Like, were you streaming before COVID?
Yes.
Were you streaming on Wednesday or just on Sundays?
Just on Sunday.
So how's it been? Now you got to do a midweek. Now you got to do a midweek stream.
Oh, it's a big difference. I mean, let me tell you, our viewing audience, and I've noticed that since school started, our audience has gone down. Our viewership has gone down for some reason. But from the time we started in March, all the way through till I would say about September, October, we were averaging like almost like 4,000 or 5,000 views on every service. And now we're probably some Sundays we may get 1,100 maybe, but we're down between 800 and 1,100. Midweek used to be about 1,100 or 1,200. It's down to about 300 or something like that. So I don't know what that is because we haven't switched up on anything, but I think it's just where people are.
The one thing I've learned.
But then I did notice this though, that our YouTube, when our Facebook numbers went down, our YouTube number had gone up. Our YouTube number like doubled.
Right. Yeah. So people run to the archive. That's where they get the opportunity to watch you over and over and over again. But you don't get that on Facebook.
On Facebook, because it's just one time, and analytics is so important. I think that the pastors and churches and whole need to understand that if you look at the analytics, you need to see who's watching you,
right?
When they're watching you, what time they watch you, the age group, the region they're in, and the reason is so you could best serve them.
Right.
It's not just to know; it's so we can serve you better.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's and I think that one of the things that we are going to be doing, I believe my people are supposed to be, Sherry's supposed to call. Did you get a call from a Sherry yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, because, you know, the virtual church thing, you all got that thing going well.
Right.
So, you know, we want you all to train her. And, you know, anytime you get my wife impressed with something, you've done something. Like, have you been watching the Apostle Shoulders? I say, yep, I know all about their virtual church. I know all about it. Yes, I do. Yes. So we want to get on top of that.
Amazing. Amazing.
And then get our people following those analytics as well. That's all going to be a part of it, because I didn't even know such thing was out there until somebody told me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's amazing because you was doing a podcast for so long, but sometimes we just don't know. We just don't know, because it's not. Sometimes you're in the middle of just doing, and then that follow up, you know, on the back end. Sometimes we don't even know about it. So you know, that's good. That's good.
So what was your inspiration for starting your podcast?
Wanting to do something that was a little out of the box, wasn't a sermon.
Okay.
You know, but let me handle some real talk conversations with people, kind of like what's on my mind. You know, how's the weather? You know, that's why I called it the Overcast Show. Kind of like you know, let me cast something over your day and give you some insight. And it was kind of fun. It's quite fun. I like doing that kind of stuff. I like doing that. I'm next year though. Because my restaurant is going to open. Well, it's going to open. I'm opening it. It's going to be, everything will be ready at the end of December, but I'm not going to open till February. And in the spring, I'm going to launch the thing I told you about, Caleb.
Yeah.
Preachers in the Kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot that
from. Awesome.
Oh yeah, that's food for thought. Preachers in the Kitchen. Here's some food for thought. So that's gonna be cool. So I'll be wanting to get your thoughts on that. How often should I do it? Because I kind of want to do it kind of like I want to build up a YouTube audience. Okay. So any thoughts? Yeah, definitely want to talk about that.
If you got plenty of thoughts.
Yeah, man.
I'm going because my brain is cooking right now. Caleb, no, boy.
Forget about it.
I'm the vision idea guy. Like, you say one thing to me, I'm gone.
Yeah. You get like 20 whole different things. You be like, what? Yeah, so definitely. Well, both of us will definitely come. Let's sit down at the table and talk about it, because it's going to be huge. That's something that's never been done before. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's going to be huge. It really is, because it's going to speak not just to the church. It's going to speak to that unchurched market that's now coming to understand, wait a minute, this God thing has been here all along. It's not just been locked in the building. Because that's really what COVID did. COVID exposed God to the world in a way that they never seen before. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
it's definitely a tool. So being that you opened a restaurant, where did this entrepreneurial spirit come from?
It from the time that I was a child, probably about 8 or 9 years old. My family, my parents owned a restaurant called Malone's Cafe. And that was like, oh man, that was the like most exciting thing I had ever experienced, you know. I remember when we got the building, when we had to go in with Daddy to help paint the floors. I remember it all like it was yesterday.
Wow. And
all of the people from the packing house, the meat packing houses from the area where I live was really strong and that was one of the strongest economic opportunities for Blacks. Hunter's Packing House, you know, you had all of that stuff, the National Stockyards. So those people would come there for lunch and dinner, and it was just a beautiful thing to see, man. And then something happened, and we had to close it. And I remember it was probably open for about maybe close to 2 years.
Okay.
open for close to 2 years. And I remember standing in the window as a kid on the last day when we had to close it. And I said to myself as a kid, I'm going to do this someday. And that seed was planted, the seed was planted then. And it's so ironic that when I opened my first restaurant, it stayed open a few months longer than my parents' first restaurant.
Wow.
And so I'm, so determined to make it happen. And now it's like the Lord just like dropped it in my plate, just dropped it on my plate, man. I mean, I haven't had to spend, I can guarantee you the county has put probably at least $300,000 or more into my spot. They built, because I sold them some land to build a plaza. And they give me my own restaurants. All I gotta do is buy my kitchen equipment. That's it. And all the big stuff, the walk-in coolers and the hood and all of the gas line, all that stuff, man. They've done so much, man. It's
Wow.
And when I opened my first restaurant, it was costing me $15,000 a month rent.
Wow.
This one is costing me $992 a month.
What?
1,200 square feet of space.
That's 2x4 right there. That's
wow.
2x4. Hey-bye.
2x4.
2x4. That's
Yes.
amazing. So what's the biggest lesson you've learned in business and ministry?
Consistency, preparation, stick-to-itiveness, and knowing that God said do it. And none of that I speak is in priority, but it's important. But then all of it hinges on your passion, because our passion for something is our power to do it. Where there is no passion, there is no power. You'll never stay with something that you don't have passion.
Right.
You won't even stay with a person that you don't have passion for.
That's true.
You'll find a way to get out of it.
That's true. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Can't do it.
So tell us about the Rain and Restoration Network.
Well, Rain was something that I was my network for pastors. I have probably about 15, 20 sons, maybe, sons and daughters. But I did Rain in 2010 and 11.
Is it an acronym, RAIN?
Yeah, Raymond Apostolic International Network.
Okay.
And I haven't everything that you have to do, you don't have to do it when you feel you have to do it. Mm-hmm. So you have to always make sure that it's necessary, not someone that is necessary. How do you say that other thing? It's the most. It's not just important, but it's the most important.
Most important.
Most important. Yep. Yep.
So I just kind of like put it on hold for a minute.
Got it.
Put it on hold for a minute. I wanted to learn how to be a good son, and because I don't believe that children take care of their fathers. I believe that fathers take care of their children. Mm-hmm. I believe that fathers validate their sons.
Yeah.
And sons carry out their father's visions.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so there are things that I had to learn, and I wanted to be in a position to where I didn't see them as something that I needed, but more so as something that they needed. I needed to do it,
Right.
but not need anything from them in order to do it.
Right.
And
Right.
let them honor me based on what I taught them about, what I teach them about what honor is.
That's good. Yeah.
You know, and not make it like, if you don't give me 10% out of everything you get, you can't be my son.
Wow.
I guess that's in the
Because-
book. I guess that's in the book.
Oh yeah, that's in the book. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
That's in the book. You know.
Amazing.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, I want to thank our brother
Yeah, man.
for gracing us with his presence.
Yeah.
Being part of the Church Town
Wisdom.
podcast. But before we go, we do this thing called 30 Seconds and Gone.
Y'all do a lot of things on here.
We do a lot of things. We do this thing called 30 Seconds and Gone. Now, 30 Seconds and Gone is just 5 questions. You can answer the question any way you want.
Okay.
All right? So,
All right.
you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You ready? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Nikes or Adidas?
Nike.
Live mic or handheld mic when you preach?
If I'm going to hoop, I want a mic. I want a handheld. If I'm not, just give me the lapel.
Right.
I mean, give me the what you call mic.
Yeah.
Cheerios or cornflakes?
Oh, cornflakes, definitely.
Okay.
Title of your first sermon?
How to fulfill the Great Commission.
Wow.
Favorite book in the Bible?
Ooh, God, I would say probably Philippians, between Philippians and Romans.
All right. We got through
That's
30
what's up.
seconds and gone. Amazing. Man of God, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited. When we air this, you'll definitely know.
Okay.
We do a lot of promotion. You will see a lot of artwork. You will see a lot of things out there. In fact, I've already finished your artwork. You don't even know.
Oh Lord.
I've already finished. Caleb don't even know I finished your artwork already.
No.
I did it already.
That's good.
It's already sitting waiting for the audio to add to it. So we want to thank you. Hey, listen, all of our listeners, make sure you rate, review, subscribe, go to the YouTube channel, watch this.
Yeah.
If you're listening, if you're watching, go to the, listen to it on the go, on your train, in your car, in your crib, wherever you're at. But what we say every time, keep God first in everything you do.
Yep. Absolutely.
We'll see you next time on the Church Sound Podcast.
Peace.
Yes,
Thank you.
No doubt.
All right, I'm out of here.
Happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Midweek Service. Today we're going to talk about cardioid microphones versus supercardioid microphones, and it's very important to kind of understand the differences, especially if you're using them in a live setting. And so we're going to preface this, based on what happens in church on Sundays and having the proper mic selection, especially when those of you who have purchasing power or want to make suggestions to your leaders about what you need or what you think you need and why. So what is a cardioid microphone? So the cardioid microphone is we should tell you. Yeah. Thank God you weren't, but the fact that you had to stand online for 5 hours to find out.
Yeah.
To find out.
Yeah.
So have a safe Christmas.
Yeah.
Love each other enough to be apart and find a way to